They're good men.
When I distribute action items, they need to be addressed.
Excuse me, sir.
Quiet, you brain. Wrong mental box.
Welcome to the Men's Lounge. I'm Frederick Douglass Southern, aka Sir Frederick, spiritual counselor and life coach. And my co-host is
Chris Wilson, aka Coach Chriss, entrepreneur.
And today we have our guests, Rita Jarvis and Andrew. And thanks so much for being here, you two. The reason why we asked you to be here is because we have a video we want to share with you and just get your honest, raw opinion. I've seen it a couple of times. I think Coach Chriss has seen it more than I have. And we both have difference of opinions on this thing. And I said, well, the best thing to do is to have a panel and let them share what they see and all that. So that being said, I want to share the screen.
Does that affect your relationships in Hollywood? I don't call him gay.
Right one.
Trailer first tattoo photo shoot at
That's it.
my family was very upset. I get a lot of backlash. People say I'm raising him as a gangster, thug. They not used to seeing a baby with tattoos. And for the people that judge me, I don't care because this is a lifestyle that we enjoy. Dance machines. Ooh, 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 ooh. What you want to wear? This is Traylon, but most people know him as Nugget World 561. He's a celebrity on TikTok. He made it to 1.5 million followers, and so we appreciate that. Hey, my name's Shamika, and my son Traylon. He loves to wear tattoos, and I enjoy putting them on him. Traylon is 1 year old. Traylon have clothes and shoes. He have over probably like 150 sneakers. Trailer first tattoo photo shoot at 6 months. My family was very upset. I get a lot of backlash. People say I'm raising him as a gangster, a thug. They not used to seeing a baby with tattoos. And for the people that judge me, I don't care because this is a lifestyle that we enjoy. Dance machine. Ooh, 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 ooh. What you want to wear? This is Traylon, but most people know him as Nugget World 561. He's
They can just pause that now.
on TikTok. He made it to.
Yeah, it's a short video, and I let it play twice to play through. So
first thing, I just have to say, 150 pairs of sneakers he gonna grow out of in a month is crazy. Like, that's ridiculous. He's 1 year old. He's gonna grow out of those sneakers when he's 2. Like, that's what? Why would you? I don't know. That's crazy.
right, that's same for his outfits as well. What are your thoughts, Rita?
Well, I'm a lot older than I look.
You say what?
I'm a lot older than I look, and I'm real conservative. And I feel just pain for this child because the mother or the parents are so ignorant. It's just ridiculous. And she made the comment, he loves tattoos. You torture this child. And, literally it's torture to give a tattoo. I mean, I'm very sensitive. And, you're talking about a needle and ink. You're destroying this child's skin. Probably he's going to grow up. As he grows, it's going to stretch. The tattoos aren't going to be the same. But you're literally putting him through pain unless they give him weed or something to knock him out when they do it. I don't doubt that they might, the mentality that they have. This child has been just damaged already. And she's saying what he wants. He doesn't know what the heck he wants. He's barely a year old. And there should be a law. Actually, probably is a law against what she's doing, but I don't know where they live. Maybe they live somewhere in the dirty South where nobody cares, but if they were around here, I would call DCFS and send them over there and say, "Go, take the child away from these fools." Like I said,
they're from Florida. They're in
What, Broward maybe?
no, they're in Florida. Put it that way. It's a
Well, all what you're saying, Rita, is true. I did some research, and it was these washable tattoos. So they're not permanent. They're not permanent or anything like that, because
so then they lying and perpetrating on top of that.
I would say
she actually said it. No, she actually said it. It's just that you probably didn't hear it very well, but she did say
They were fake tats. Yeah.
Oh no, I missed it then. I didn't hear that.
That's all right,
Yeah.
but you had a great response to it from what I'm hearing right now, because that's what it's all about, speak your mind, and then we can clarify just like we're doing. Maybe that'll change how you want to view it, but you did the right thing.
I don't feel any different.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even if it's fake tattoos, what tattoos represent, especially full body tattoos, what that represents is completely different, as opposed to like a little kid getting a Spider-Man tattoo on their shoulder. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're 5 years old, you get a little Spider-Man tattoo on your shoulder. Cool. You know what I mean? You're not getting a full body tattoo at one. That's completely different. I would get an air tattoo when I go to Soak City as a kid, get a little dragon on my shoulder. I'm like 5 years old running around, as a kid, but not like something like that. That's ridiculous.
Okay, but at 5, you were cognizant of this.
Yeah. I'm like, I like the dragon.
You could have got in a Jack in the Box tattoo and put it on your hand, and you could show it off at school.
Exactly.
This kid has no awareness of what is going on. He's just, what he can pick up, subconsciously is the behavior. He's going to learn the behavior that's attached to it. Right. And I honestly think these people are doing it for their own self-gain. Yeah. She said it herself, how many, followers. I guess, likes and followers. They're doing this to see how much they can. Number one, they obviously need some kind of recognition. And that speaks to his psyche. We didn't see the guy, but her need for recognition. And not being able to get it on her own with her get up, right? She's using the child, I guess,
exploiting the child.
Yes, or as we said, living vicariously through the child. And how long is she going to do this? So as soon as the fad wears off, right, or they've made enough money, they'll switch it to something else. So basically, the child is just being used. It's sad for the child.
Let me add something to what you just said, because exploiting a child, I agree with that. But what's the difference from a soccer mom exploiting that kid? A basketball mom, a baseball mom. Since I'm a coach, I'm talking from that term, so maybe you can understand what I'm saying. They exploit their kid as well. She's doing the same thing to get a gain. They're doing the same thing to get a gain. What's the problem?
I tell you the problem. He's one.
I was about to say that. Yeah. I was
one. He has no knowledge, no understanding, no input. Look, I have a 7-year-old grandson, and my son is hell-bent on I need to take him out and play ball because he doesn't want him doing girly stuff. And I bring him over to my house, and I take out the finger paints, and I sit him to the piano, teach him how to play the piano, and I allow him to express himself and let him speak to me and say, Granny, I don't want to do this, or I don't like this, or this is hard, or this is. Whereas my son is adamant that the child is going to do what he says do because of the way he sees the world. You see?
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying about that with the age, but those ages and those things I just mentioned, the soccer mom, these moms who do ballet with their children, and then they force them into these things that they have a love for, and they're driving it down their throat because they see the potential of them, getting through this stuff later on in life. She's experiencing something right now. She's getting a gain out of it right now. So she's getting immediate gratification.
She's getting a
But
gain
the
out of
bottom
it.
line is
And-
she's supporting her child. She's making sure the child has clothes. She's making sure the child is fed. She's doing everything for her child. Where's the problem? I don't see a problem with this. I
So the
think that
problem is,
she's
what could she be doing with
just
that
like
money?
anybody else.
What
I
else
see
could
that
she?
she's
The
doing
money
exactly
that
like
she
anybody.
took, the money that she took to buy 150 pair of shoes, as Andrew said, that the child could never wear. Could she have not put that in the fund for his future?
Yeah, but see, she's a fashion person. She's deal with fashion. So every time she got to go somewhere, she don't want to duplicate what he's wearing. So
But what's she gonna do with the previous pair? Is she gonna sell it and put it in the fund for him for later?
well, that's something I have to look
Okay.
into. I hear what you're saying with that, but the bottom line is she's into fashion and she's pushing her son into this stuff and she's using him, exploiting him, like Frederick said, in a manner to where it benefits her. But her son is also benefiting because she's bringing it back home.
Maybe. We don't know that.
Well,
Well,
with all those clothes, he's definitely benefiting.
well, I mean, he doesn't.
He needs a diaper and a t-shirt. That's what he needs.
That's it. That's it, and a pair of shoes. I like what
That's
what
the way.
Rita said.
You know, my son got quiet because I wouldn't raise him like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I kind of thought of my baby pictures, and I'm like, I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine like anything like that ever. And like, I'm thinking of my baby pictures, me growing up, looking at them, like as like a 5, 6 year old kid. If I saw my baby pictures and I was dressed as like a gangster with dreads and tats, I would want to get dreads and tats at 5, 6 years old. Looking at my baby pictures, I'd be like, why don't I have any tattoos for real? You know, like I have tattoos in my baby pictures, but I don't have tattoos in real life. What's going on? At 5, 6 years old, when you see that, it's like, this looks cool. I want to dress like that right now. Like, wow,
Yeah, but what happens when you have more children? You see, I have a daughter that had a child born on December 22nd. The first 3 years of his life, they did the 22nd, the birthday. And, they bought the big old jumpy thing and all these gifts, and then turn around 4 or 5 days later, it's Christmas, and they got to do Christmas. I said, okay, that's going to wear thin real soon. So soon as he got about 3, they decided, okay, this is costing us too much money. Yeah. Then his birthday got merged into Christmas, right? And he only got to celebrate once, right? So what happens when you have more children? See, I have 4, and there's no way I'm spending nearly the amount of money that she's spending on that one child, because I have to now provide for 3 more. You see, she's comfortable right now, but what about later?
Well, she only showed that one, but she actually had another baby. But I don't know if they had anything else that they put out with that. So I think she has more than this one child. But this one here is actually a celebrity, and they're actually in West Palm Beach, Florida. That's where they are. I had to try to remember that. In West Palm Beach, Florida, from my understanding, the average income out there is less than $50,000. She looked like she's not working. She looked like she's independent entrepreneur. So what I see is her exploiting her son in a manner to get this money with all those likes she got. And she also does other things. She makes clothes. She makes kids' clothes. She makes adult clothes. So she's selling her product. And her, I don't like to say this word, mascot is her son. And she's using her son that way.
But dad,
that's where I see it. But the bottom line is she's making money. She's taking care of her family.
I understand that.
I don't have a problem with it.
Dad, you have to understand though, that kid's future. Look, like, what if someone sees that and then like when that kid's growing up, like they want to bully that kid just because of his photos. Yeah, they got a financial gain out of it, but now my future's like messed up because all these kids want to bully me because of my baby pictures.
Well, maybe she'll put them in private
school. Bullies happen all the time.
Yeah, but I'm just like, your parents are giving me a reason to bully you as opposed to just like kids getting bullied for like being a nerd, or you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather me be bullied like just directly as opposed to me, like my parents giving the kids a reason to bully me. That's terrible.
A lot of that happened with their names. Sometimes you can just name a child and they get bullied from their name. So
I guess, yeah, that's true.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Buying that.
Well, first on program, I wouldn't want to be bullied, period. I won't want to be bullied in this way, that way. That's number one. Number two, second on program is this. I want a kid to be a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
what message are you really sending out once this kid starts to become aware of what's going on? Yeah, you're conditioning, we all condition our kids in a certain way. And
Yeah.
you're conditioning this kid that this lifestyle is so way different than all the other kids. That ain't normal. This is not normal.
It's not normal. He won't, and he's going to be tasked with trying to maintain it. And you create all these emotional complexes for this child. I mean, the layers are deep. They already are deep. And you got to understand, it's not until you're at the age where you have the grandchildren where you can see all this happening. Because when you're in the middle of doing it, you're raising them. You clearly don't know how you're screwing up the kid. You really don't. But it's not until after they grow up and you realize, yeah, that's my fault. Oh, that's my fault. That's my fault. Okay. So when the grandkids come along, you stop and you say, hey, son, don't do that to your child, right? I did it to you. It's not good. Don't do it. But the truth at the end of the day is, I'm a big picture person. I pull out of the self and pull out and look at the picture and realize we all came here to do what we came to do. And to do that, we had to go through the experiences and become that person in order to fulfill the purpose that we are here. And so that helps relieve me in my anxieties where I want to reach out and touch and fix. And, the whole concept of it takes the village. Yeah, they don't believe that anymore, right? But I just have to pull out and let it go and realize there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, I have my opinion. I think the child is probably going to have a lot of problems emotionally and along the way with other people. We don't know where this is going to go, what's going to happen. What if something happens to her and she's no longer in his life?
But the dad is there. The dad is there, and he's supporting the situation as well.
Oh, they're in the same mind frame. Well, I got to tell you, I agree with this much. I kind of believe with Chris Rock. He said, if you're a crackhead, you need to marry a crackhead. I totally agree.
Yeah,
I think on the same page.
I think also to add on to it, I think when you think of baby pictures, you think of something you keep in the wallet that's sentimental to you. It's like, yeah, this is my, this is my baby, like,
right.
This is something to them they want to flaunt and show the entire world. Like, I don't know, I guess everybody thinks of it differently, but like what I'm assuming is when you have a kid, why would you want to show your baby pictures to the entire world like that? And then on top of that, make your baby look like a gangbanger or a gangster or
Andrew,
a hood person.
Andrew, they're proud of it. Do you understand when we whip those pictures out, right? Because I do it. I'm in the doctor's office and I whip out my phone and it's look at my grandbaby. You're proud. You're like, I'm so proud of this child. They are proud of what they're doing. So there's your why.
As his dad, I agree with you. I'm proud of my son. I tell him all the time. My other son you saw earlier, his name is Nathan. He's the oldest, and Andrew's the youngest of the two. I'm proud of them. But like her, I would do whatever it takes to take care of my kids. And her, right now, she's exploiting her kid in a manner to where it doesn't bother her in a moral sense. And I don't really, like I said, I don't see a problem with it because of how she's taking care of her kid. Now, if she was doing this and her kid was wearing raggedy clothes and the kid looked like he needed to change his diaper every 5 minutes, then I'll have a different opinion. But right now, they're in cahoots. That's the husband right there that you might see on the screen.
Right.
Right. He says, "Little daddy's son." I don't know if you can really read that, and then something about the tattoo.
Like daddy, like son, tattoo. Yeah, of course. And that's what I'm saying. So I was telling Andrew, he's whipping out the pictures and they're showing the world the pictures because they're very proud of what they're doing. So
that's their parenting. The way they parent is different than most people.
Indeed.
But there's a lot of people that support them with the likes that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And for me as a dad, and for me seeing what she's doing, I'm just taking the emotion out of it and looking at what she's doing. The bottom line is this woman is supporting her child. When it comes down to what she's doing, it looks reckless, but the child looks like he's being taken care of.
Okay.
What's the message? I apologize for cutting you off, Rita.
No, baby, it's fine.
What's the message? And I like what Rita said earlier. I'm look at I'm a big picture type of person. What kind of effect do you think this is going to have on the kid later on, even in the near future, not the far future, but just the near future, comparing himself to other kids, him being a kid? Is he going to be a normal kid, whatever normal is or whatever normal looks like, you know? And see, the father got gold teeth, the kid got gold teeth and chains and all that. What message are you really sending out? And who else just said this just a moment ago? Chris Rock said, "Well,
That was
if
me.
you're a crackhead, that was you, Rita.
You need to marry a crackhead. That's
Yeah,
right. So
if
they
you're
at
a
least they're
crackhead, marry a
together.
crackhead."
Right. At least
So
they're together.
yeah,
Right.
so
Right.
if they're both tattoo artists and that's their artistry and all that, then
It's no
that's
different than having a farm and making the kids go out and till the field and slaughter
Exactly.
hogs, etc.
Exactly.
I get that, and I understand that you farmers like to raise farmers. We keep the kids in the family, but what about the kid whose personality pushes him to say, "I don't want to be no farmer.
right.
I want to go to Hollywood. I want to be a star." I mean, it's going to depend on this child's personality, right? We use tools like astrology. I'd be first trying to figure out, okay, when was this child's birthday? So, depending on his zodiac sign, I can tell you, well, he's gonna relish this. If he's a little Leo, a Sagittarius, a little fire sign, Aries like me, he's gonna be like, yeah,
Virgo.
I'm so and so, and he's gonna live his whole life on top of his world because he got it out the gate. But what if he came into the world under a different sign and he feels oppressed by this? And he feels like his parents are pushing this on him and he doesn't like the attention. He doesn't want to be in the world. Now you've given him a complex. So you see, we don't know all these things
That's
just
what I was.
based on what we
That,
see right now. There's
that's
no
what I
way.
was going to say. That's hard to predict and be foreseen. There's no way to predict anything like that. So that's why I say for now, as of now, what she's doing is supportive. And by her supporting her son in this manner, who am I to go against that? I can't go against it. I just
Oh, well,
can't.
nobody can
I know
actually
how it
go
is.
against it. We're free now, right? Free is a thing, I
Yeah,
think. But
yeah,
nobody. This generation is quite different.
yeah.
They don't listen to their parents, so it's not like we can say, "I forbid you to do anything." It doesn't work like that. So they're
Well,
free to do whatever they want.
she did say her family didn't like it,
She
so she
did.
got backlash from her own family, and I can only imagine what they're going through, But she's standing her ground. I can respect that. She got her husband backing her up, her boyfriend, whatever the situation is, but he's a daddy, And the bottom line is there's soccer moms out there, there's baseball moms out there, there's moms out there that's pushing these kids that we don't even see because this content is not shown like that because this baby got these body tats. So that's going to catch your attention. And that's what she wants. She wants your attention so she can get paid, and she's getting paid for it to buy $150, 150 shoes for this kid. And all
Right.
these pants and clothes because she's interchanging them because of what work she does. She's a stylist. I mean, and when she does this stuff, she's promoting her business with her son.
Well, and believe it, the family that doesn't support her will call her up when they got a light bill they can't pay.
Of course
Probably,
they will.
probably. Good point. Good point. So that proves my point right there. She's doing what she can to support her son regardless of what her family said.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that.
Okay.
I
So
feel like as long as she can continue like supporting her son and not like I feel like when her son gets to the age where they can have conversations because he's one right now, then things will be different. If it's like, okay, if you want to keep doing this, we can keep doing this. If you don't want to keep doing this, we won't. Like, I want them to like actually sit down and make that decision, even if it's like gonna lose them financially. Like, oh, but no, this is making us a lot of money. We have to keep doing this. I don't want them to be that type of parent to like force them. Like, yeah, they're exploiting them now as a baby that they don't have a say. They're a baby. They don't have a voice yet. But when they become 3, 4, like, oh, I don't like getting those tattoos on me. Oh, I don't like that when you put the do rag on too tight. Or I don't like when you put my hair like that. Or like, if those parents will actually step up and be like, okay, we won't do that anymore, then I'll respect that. But as of now, it's a baby, like you said, like do your thing, support the kid. But when that kid gets older, let that kid make the decision that kid wants to make. Don't force that kid into anything,
So what
Let me
what
give
age
you-
are you talking about? What age are you talking about? Because that's something that I would still have control over if you're in my house.
You one of them types. Okay, let me give you an
Well,
example. Let me
then
give
you
you an
know.
example.
Yeah,
Hold on, let me tell you.
you're in my
Come
house,
on.
my son, I have control over that.
Hold on, let me give you an example. You guys know Will Smith. Okay, have you watched the story with his son Jaden? Because Jaden, he put Jaden in the movies when he was really small. Remember, he was in that movie, Just the
Karate
Two of
Kid.
Us. No,
Yeah,
just the two of us. He was about
Karate
4.
Kid. Yeah.
Oh, Karate Kid came later. His first
Yeah,
movie,
that too.
he was little, like
Pursuit of
4,
Happiness.
5 years old. Okay, Pursuit of Happiness. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, have you watched this kid grow up? He has become
I grew up with him.
rebellious. Oh my God, he wanted to become emancipated at 15. Okay, and he had the money, his own money. He was like, I don't want to live here anymore. I want to be, I want to be on my own. And they literally gave him that. They signed off and gave it to him. He very soon discovered that he really couldn't do it on his own, and he went back with his, tail between his legs, went back home. But they forever treated him differently. Now this kid in the public, for all the world to see, is a very troubled young man. He can't decide whether he's gay or he's straight. Okay, and all that is developing in the public eye. All of his psychological distress and all of his emotional toils are being on display for all of us to not only see and gawk at, but to input, because on social media, people say whatever the hell they want to say. And he's seeing it, because it's hard to take your eye away once you start down that path. And he's seeing all the rejection and all the negativity and all this is doing to his psyche, right? Now, mind you, the little sister had the very same thing happen to her. And granted, she's a little weird too, but
A little.
but she's handling it better. I mean, I get it. Women are, smarter, but in either case, she's handling it a little better in the public eye. Sorta, kinda, maybe. But I'm just saying that you can see what this can do to you. These children were thrust into a situation that, even once they got to the age where they said, I don't really want to do this, because that little girl, when they were doing this, I want to whip my hair, that video with the little girl, what's her name now? Willow. She was doing that video out of rebellion. She didn't want to do the songs that they wanted her to do. Okay. So she decided she was going to sing the one about whip your hair. And she was adamant that's what she was going to do out of rebellion. Do you know the girl chopped all her hair off after that? Because she's like, it's not about my hair. She was just being rebellious. So you see, they have all of these emotional turmoils that are created because of what the parents have pushed on them way beyond the age of decision, where the child gets to say, I don't want to do this anymore. And the parent says, as long as you're in my house, you're going to do it. Right? The kid is destroyed. So now you got some crazy ass adults running around right now. Who knows what they're going to become and what offsprings they're going to deliver into the world, and etc. So yeah, I think all we have right here is some opinions, but
Well, I get all of that, and I've followed them. How could you not follow them? And I remember Will Smith saying, "Well, I let my kids raise themselves." I'm like, you got to be kidding. Yeah, I heard him make a statement about that years ago. He said, "Oh, well, we let our kids raise themselves."
Yeah, we let them do what they want to do.
And then later on down the road, he came back and made a statement a few years later, say, "Oh, well, maybe that wasn't the best idea." So, yeah. So I had a couple of notes that I made is, what's the intended message your parents, her parents are trying to convey? And then earlier on, I didn't want to cut anyone off, but a question came to me was, lifestyle. You know, she's making money. This lifestyle is addictive.
And that's what she said. She did say that. She said, this is a lifestyle we choose, we like. And
Right.
that lifestyle is coming because of the money she got coming in. She's supporting her child. The child's not, like I said, dirty diapers. She's exploiting him to a point to where I'm okay with it because of how I look at it from this view when it comes down to how these soccer moms are. I'm always going to go back to that sport because I know how crazy that gets with these travel balls and all this and that. And Andrew, you know what I'm talking about when it comes to stuff like that. That's a lot of work involved in this. It's a lot of exploitation when it comes to that stuff. What's the difference?
Well,
I don't see the difference.
I think
I'm more of like,
a little bit of, I'm sorry.
no, you're good.
The only thing I'm concerned about when you say what's the difference, not so much the difference as in the outcome. And I say that because I'm very familiar with that. One of my best ex-frenemies, her daughter was brought up in basketball. And she took her, you know, she did everything to get that money to put her in tournament ball. I mean, touring ball. They would go from place to place,
Travel ball.
and the money was travel ball. That's it, and it was expensive. And the little girl was actually very good at it, but that was her life. Everything was about that child's, you know, basketball career. And mom was really more enthused about it than daughter, but daughter was good at it. Right. So, but here's the thing. The outcome of it was this daughter went on to play a year abroad, right? And made this money. And she actually, when she was done with ball, she became successful at what else she's doing because they had put money away. So what I'm saying is, let's hope that the young lady with the tattooed child will put money away, the money that she makes for this baby, that it goes for this child. Because as we know in the case of Jada and Willow Smith, the money they made on those movies, we've been told they put that money away for those kids and their fund, their pie, and their trust money. So once they become of age, they have money that they've earned themselves as children, right? And then they can decide what to do with it. What I'm opposed to, if anything, is the parent exploiting the child and then not putting that money up for the kid for later. I'm just appalled when they take the money. Okay, so real story.
Like Gary Coleman.
Well, that too, but here's a real story. So I was supposed to go to Chicago Lab School when I was, I guess about 8. I'm from Chicago, by the way. And they offered my mother this real good deal because she worked for Board of Education. And she said she didn't see a reason to spend that money on me. She wanted to go traveling. So she took money that was actually left for me by my father, and she went traveling. So none of that money went towards me. You know, I got none of the benefit of what I could have become and done with that, right? And I just feel like that was so self-centered that she couldn't have loved me that much. That's just the way I took it, right? So what I'm saying is, I'm on some level, I'm with you, Coach Chriss, in that she's taking care of her kids. You know, as a mother, I know we will do anything to take care of our kids. We do things sometimes we don't want to do. We hope God doesn't know we did, but we'll do it to take care of our kids. The question is, what is she doing with that money? Is she also thinking about the work that had to be put in by the kid? So if he continues to do this, let's say he becomes whoever and he starts to grow up in this life, are they going to set up a fund and make sure that it's his money and that it's only available for him as a trust when he's of age? Or is it by the time, like you said, Gary Coleman, by the time he gets of age and he spent his whole life being what they wanted him to be, now he can't do what he wants to do. He's got to start over. That's the only thing I'm thinking about as my feelings about what the parents are doing. Are they just doing it for their own gain and they're using the kid? Or are they really thinking about, how can I do this? Because children that go work in Hollywood, I found this out because I was trying to get my grandson in. If you, the parent, take your child for those auditions and you have to sit on set with them all day, right? They actually allow you to take a certain amount of the money as your pay for doing your job. But
Right.
the other part of the money, you're supposed to put it in trust for the kid because the kid did the work, right? So that's what I'm talking about. I get that she's doing this and she's living on the money, right? That makes sense. She should do that. But what part of that money is she putting away for this kid's well-being? It shouldn't
Well,
just be all about her gain.
valid point. There's
Well,
no way to.
she's reinvesting it for the kid's lifestyle with his attire, his wardrobe, the shoes that he's going to grow out of. That's
For how long? For how long, Frederick?
For as long as it takes.
as
For
long
as
as
long as
she
it
can.
takes.
As long as she can.
She's gonna roll with this as long as it takes, because like I say, this is her,
It's her livelihood.
and for her son. She's actually had him at concerts for a certain rap artist that's down there in Florida, and they bring him on stage and they celebrate this kid. So she's getting paid something. And what she's doing with the money, I wouldn't tell nobody what I'm doing with the money either. Because like you said, maybe her family's coming up saying my light bills due.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got your money information. Now you got your money information all on the screen. Mm-hmm. And then now she's gonna put herself and her son at risk.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And I'm not saying she should. I'm just saying my hope would be that she is looking out beyond herself right now.
The kind of woman that she looks like she is. I'm sorry, the kind of woman that she appeared to be, taking care of her son the way she is doing, I have reason to believe she would do exactly what you're thinking.
Coming from the perspective of a son, I believe that the kid will grow up to want to be like his dad. And if his dad is going to have this lifestyle, he's going to probably want to get, the same lifestyle. So he'll probably end up growing into like having the tattoos and the gold teeth the same way his dad is or does. I'm not saying that's what his dad does, but like from the pictures we saw, you know what I mean? Like they have him as baby pictures. He'll probably grow up into that too. So I don't know if that's okay for you guys, for like, more people to be growing up like that, but it's where
but
he's
not
from,
always. So. Not always. Look, I was married to a preacher. Not never one of my children decided to go to the church. So I'm just saying.
Well, that I was talking about lifestyle. Maintaining that lifestyle. What is going to take to maintain that lifestyle?
Keeping him relevant. That's what's going to maintain that lifestyle.
And she's going to have to be, if she's savvy and as smart as we think, well, she's going to have to keep herself educated as to what's up and coming and what's new, and so she can keep him up on it, so she can keep reinventing him. Right, because we all know that these things are with the stars are fad, and they run out of another one comes right behind them. Somebody copies it, so she's just going to have to keep inventing what's necessary to keep him fresh,
relevant,
relevant. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, at the end of the day, the baby is still one. So as long as she's buying fresh diapers,
I agree. You buy him some pablum. You're right.
Well, like I say, I didn't see no dirty diapers. The room seemed pretty clean. The closet seemed pretty clean. Right. I'm good. I'm good. I didn't see anything that looked abusive. I'm good. Like I say, for me being in the situation I am as a dad, my son is on the show right now. You can look at him and see he grew up to be a great young man, as much as you know from now. If you meet him in person and you talk to him in person, you would agree with me. I'm not just saying that as a biased dad, but I'm just saying it because of the compliments I get from other folks. I would do whatever it takes.
I believe it.
If I had to put a tattoo across his forehead, say, "Don't fuck with me," I would do it.
Well, you said the key thing here. The child has not been, as we see, abused. Remember, well, the first thing I thought I'd
have to be one.
Him.
I'd have to be one for you to do that, just so you know.
Oh, you would have been one.
Oh, that's right. I heard that.
I knew I
should not doing that now.
Not now.
I could have made some money out of that. You would have been one.
Oh my God! But you understand when you said once you explained that they were washable tattoos, my angst went away. I really thought upon originally.
I did too.
They were torturing this child, with a needle and ink. But once it's washable, okay.
And that's why I say I don't have a problem with it, because it's not permanent.
I mean,
it's not a permanent tattoo. And what she's doing, she's exporting her son on something that's done at amusement parks. She's taken
I
to
was
another
gonna-
level
yeah,
because that's
I
her
was about to
art.
bring that back up.
Her art is basically, I'm an artist. I'm gonna put this art on my son. People love it. They're paying me for it, no matter how stupid you think these people are. I got over 1 million views on this thing. This is what I'm gonna roll with. It's genius.
Sure.
It's freaking genius. You know,
I
it's
get
just,
it.
and bottom line is, I would do the same thing. I wish I thought about that 27 years ago.
I hear you. I'm not mad at you. I mean, if, on a very simple level, I own the beauty salon, and I made sure my daughters, I had 2 daughters, make sure their hair was always perfect because I didn't want anybody to see this hairdresser with,
Happy-headed kids.
happy
Just know
headed
if it
kids.
was
You got it.
if it was 27 years ago, he would have had me dressed up as Ice Cube back in the day.
Yeah, you'd have been acting sure.
He would have me in Raider gear, looking like straight out of
straight
Compton.
straight out of Culver City. Straight out of Culver City.
Right.
Straight out of Culver City. Straight out
All
of
right.
business.
All right, well, listen.
let's see.
Have we exhausted this?
I think so.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
All
I
right,
think
I'm gonna
so.
go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. So
We'll sign off.
we'll sign off. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sir Frederick, spiritual counselor, life coach here at the Men's Lounge LA, and
I'm Coach Chriss, entrepreneur and proud father. Glad you guys were able to join us. This was actually a lot of fun.
it was.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having me.
Thank you so much,
Thanks for
Andrew
having
and Rita, and we'll see
Sure.
you next time. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.